long week on the road, but I don't know.
So then you cook the 4th of July content and you got over to.
I'll stop doing it now. Yeah, we're gonna cut it off for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to live over on the other side of the pass, so when you come down the pass, you
Yep.
come down,
Yep.
and that scenic byway exit that you take right at the bottom of the pass, Rose Lake.
Okay.
So I used to live over Rose Lake.
It's beautiful.
It is, so not too far from the politician.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Okay, it is 7 o'clock, and I will call this regularly scheduled meeting for the Renewal Agency for November to order, and ask our secretary to call the roll.
Commissioner Hopper?
Here.
Commissioner Porter? Here. Commissioner Warwick? Here. Commissioner Wagner?
Here.
Commissioner Allred?
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Great. We have all commissioners here for the agency tonight. I would ask all of the commissioners, as I always do, if there's any conflict of interest with any items on today's agenda.
Goodbye.
There was one.
There's your comment.
Sorry, we may,
Are we restarting?
I'm restarting real quick just to make sure we're in the right.
Okay, we'll hold it right here.
Good meeting.
Only the best. Yeah. No, only because it's a lot more fun than one of them.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
He just got in.
Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, you are in the meeting now. There are 6 participants in the meeting. You are muted. You can mute or the host.
The room is unmuted, I think.
Press *6 on there.
You are muted. You are unmuted.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I think we may have overcome our technical difficulties. Hopefully those of you out in Zoom land can hear us now. We have just opened the meeting, and to be fair, there was no conflict of interest, except Zoom itself had a conflict of interest, but we've got that. I don't believe there's any special presentations tonight, and I don't believe anybody in the audience wants to address the agency except on action item or agenda items. Correct for that, which takes us to the consent calendar. So I would entertain a motion then on the consent calendar.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I will move that we adopt the consent calendar as presented.
Move to adopt the consent calendar by Mr. Porter, second by Ms. Warwick. Since this is only to approve the minutes, we can go by voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we have adopted our consent calendar. That takes us to the old business, and Mr. Falls.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, again, thank you for the opportunity to present. The report that I submitted to you referenced several projects that I'm working on one being primarily North Ranch. We've been working with them for quite a few months now as they are getting closer to completion. Mr. McDonald shared with me today, it looks like the paving is done at North Ranch. I drove by earlier today, saw that it is done, tried to drive on it, they wouldn't let me this way, but anyway, I was out there and it looks very, very promising. You know, one of the projects we've been working with for some time, and it's not listed in the report, is West Coast Can. We were, it had come down to three communities. We were one of the three communities across the country being considered for that particular project. That project was looking at probably 400,000 square feet, 165 employees. I received unofficial notice that it looks like the site in Arizona is the one that they've chosen. It was stated to me that they wanted to be closer to their can supplier for them, which is based out of Arizona. My point to them was let's bring them up here as well. But anyway, looks like that's going to happen. But I did have some communication back with the site selector today and shared with her that the infrastructure was basically completed through the site. Her comment back to me was asked if my ears had been burning because they had just talked about the site on another project today. So they are still looking at Caldwell as the site selector as a promising site for businesses and groups, light industrial, that may be looking at a presence in and around this part of the country. So while we lost out on that, we've made some very good headways with this particular site selection group, and they are keeping us very close, close eye on us under their radar. So we'll continue to work with them, but also the projects, the Prometheus project scope, Northwest Sandpiper, and EOS. These are all still active projects that have come to us through various different groups, Boise Valley Economic Partnership, Idaho Commerce. All of them are still in consideration, ranging again on these projects anywhere from probably 50,000 square feet to up to 600,000 or 700,000 square feet. So we're still being considered on those projects. And again, a full wide range of job opportunities there through those projects. So we're continuing to work very closely again with BVA as they continue to market it as we do. I did actually have one other project that came about this past Friday that didn't make the list. I titled this project Midwest. It's a company from the Midwest. And
very creative.
yeah, they're looking at essentially 50 to 100,000 square feet. So we're going to be working closely with them on that as well on the North Ranch site. The second point was Wolf Development. They're the ones that purchased the Anaca property, and they have constructed the 87,000 square foot facility that is in place now. We're working on a couple of projects that are considering that site, that particular building, and I know that they have some leads as well. So we anticipate probably, I would guess, and more so maybe hope, that we'll see that building filled within the first or maybe the second quarter of next year. So things, again, are looking very strong there. We have a lot of leads that we're working on with them, as well as the leads that they are working on themselves. So that's another one where we have a 50 to 60,000 square foot user that I had conversations with them about today that has the possibility of going into that existing building. As you recall, from some of my past presentations, they are looking at a second building. That second building would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 260,000 square feet. We are working on a lead, and I actually had a site visit a couple of weeks ago with a user that would take 200,000 square feet of that 260,000 square feet. And they would be looking at about 400 plus jobs. I'm very, very excited about this. When I spoke with the representative from Wolf Development today, they said they're continuing to work with the company. I've had continued communications with the company as well. So right now, it looks like they've narrowed it down to 2 sites, and we're one of the 2 sites for consideration. So hopefully we can seal this one up and get that building taken care of. This project is going to be very, very interesting to us in that, as you are probably aware, we still have 2 residential sites in the Sky Ranch Business Center. This Wolf Development has those two pieces of property under contract right now, and hope to close on those. And what we would see is that $260,000 would encompass a big part of the Van Acher site, but basically all of those two residential sites with access points onto the Sneak Parkway. So we're excited to see that happen. I think that they were offering very fair prices to the two individual residents there. So that's, I think, going to be a very, very promising project for this community and for the Urban Renewal Agency. So we'll continue on to Project K, is a new industrial lead we continue to work with. It's out of Oregon. It's a smaller one. It's probably, we're probably looking at 30 to 40 employees, probably a 25 to 40,000 square foot facility. We're still shopping them into the Sky Ranch and the Skyway Business Park area. Continue to work with the Skyway Industrial Condos. This was a group that purchased property at Aviation and Skyway that would be right across the street from the substation. And they're looking at 10,000 square foot condominium opportunities, probably 4 buildings in their first phase. And so we're working with a couple of businesses right now that are looking at acquiring and moving into some of those locations. They're moving dirt there now, and they're finalizing, I believe, what they need to have in place to start pulling building permits. So again, I would see some activity happening at that location, certainly by first quarter of next year. So we're excited to see that continue to move forward. With our former Project White, they were the ones that purchased 20 acres from us some time ago. They're in a situation where, under the purchase sales agreement, they have to be under construction by end of March of 2021. They are scheduled to be in town next week, middle of next week. Indications I'm getting from them is that the project still looks very, very promising. There's a new element to the project that could actually activate them a little sooner if, in fact, they move forward with that. And could have the possibility of even expanding to a larger presence if we're able to work, if they're able to work things out internally within their corporation. So that looks very, very promising for that side. Continue to work with Colliers on a large multi-use developer out of California. We had 2 conversations with them over the last couple of weeks. They desire to purchase in excess of 200 acres, somewhere in the, may not be in the existing urban renewal location, but would be very close to where we are now. And I think would warrant maybe some further discussion down the road about a potential additional allocation area that we would want to look at and to entertain. They were looking at acquiring some a major piece of property and maybe 2 additional sites that would be in all within the city limits currently, and all zoned in M1 zoning classification. So while they do a number of types of development, their focus initially would be in light manufacturing, and warehousing distribution. So we'll continue to work with them on that. And then the last item that I have on my report is we continue to work with Treasure Valley Community College on the airframe and power plant, the A&P maintenance facility. I know that they have been into the building that was purchased through funds through Urban Renewal, and I think they're working with an architect now for design and getting that put into place. I met with them last week. They are still working and continuing to get everything set up in place for launching the A&P program. I think they have secured their instructor, a certified instructor, into that position. They have some of the equipment already to go. So they're very excited about launching, again, this program. They will be submitting an application to the Idaho Workforce Development Council for consideration, and that would be happening very, very soon. That will basically kind of push them over and get them to the place where they are ready to begin the program. Probably, I would guess probably this time next year. So it does take some time. but it is certainly a high demand activity, for this region. So we anticipate, classrooms probably of, 24, students or so, in the program, so very excited about that. Another new project that just, actually kind of rolled in today is Project Aztec. Our friends at the Southwest Idaho Manufacturers Alliance gave us a referral. They too are from the, Midwest area. They're looking at Western presence, and, we're very fortunate to be members of SWEMA, as, they had the lead and sent that lead to us, as a member. So, been in communication with them this afternoon, and, we're working toward, bringing that group here as well. Not a lot of details on them, other than they are light manufacturing, but it fit very, very well, I think, within the Renewal site. We're pitching the, North Ranch to them, as well as, what we have available still in the Sky Ranch area. So, with that, I'll stand for any questions we have.
Any questions for Mr. Bowles? I would just impress upon your Project White visitors that we're excited about being able to market that property, in March, so.
Mr. Chairman, that was actually mentioned.
Thank you. We have lots of potential takers. Okay, thank you, Mr. Bowles. Mr. Jenkins, are you gonna be able to walk us through your report on the phone?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Can you all hear me there?
We got you.
Great. Well, hey, Chairman, Commissioners, good evening. I'd like to begin by introducing Project Love. For Project Love, they're a restaurant group. They have an interesting location here in Canyon County. Their menu focuses on dessert options. They would like to visit the downtown area sometime this month. Next is Project Hold. They're a Treasure Valley bakery with a very strong following in the valley. They're interested in locating in Caldwell. They have other locations throughout the Treasure Valley, and they're focusing their expansion efforts in the Caldwell region. Next, I've been working on the Caldwell Public Art Program. We're making progress. We're working with some consultants for us in the U.S. that have done a really good job with their public art programs. And we've been just kind of taking different ways, looking at different ways that we can approach the public art with the city of Caldwell. And we're getting close to finalizing the policies and the guidelines for our city. We've been receiving some mural requests. They're on the rise here in the city, so we'll be finalizing the details for our public art program very shortly. Next up is NeighborWorks. They are looking for land to develop a park-to-park neighborhood. They visited Caldwell in October, and they looked at 3 potential sites. After follow-up conversations, they've identified a site in the Sky Ranch area. They are moving forward with plans to develop some greater sites for a multi-family park-to-park neighborhood. Next is Project Gator. This is a restaurant group that has an interest in locating in downtown Caldwell. They have identified a potential location near the movie theater. They're considering this site and others in downtown Boise. They'll be making a final decision soon. I will say that Project Gator has said that they really like what we've got downtown and all the improvements that we've made, and they think that they'd be a great fit in our community. So I'm thinking that they're leaning towards locating here in Caldwell, which is a great time. Next up is Extreme Pizza. They're opening sometime this month. They made some improvements to their building. You all may have seen the garage door that they put in, also the side door that's in the alley along 7th Avenue South downtown. These updates have taken a little longer than they anticipated, which has delayed their opening. But they're excited to be in Caldwell, and they want to be a significant member of our community. They want to be a part of things that we have going on here. So they're excited to locate here, and they're excited to open very shortly. So more information coming soon about their opening this month. And lastly is Project Blue. They're a light manufacturing company. They're seeking 10 to 15 acres to develop a facility in Caldwell. They'll employ about 9 people in our area, and they're looking at the Sky Ranch area and also some land kind of in and around the peripheral areas of Caldwell. They have a site visit that's planned in mid-November. And with that, that is all I have for tonight, unless there are any questions for me.
Any questions for Mr. Jenkins? No, looks like we let you off the hook there, Steve. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you very much.
Oh, yes, Ms. Holmes.
If I may, I had one other item I wanted to touch on, if I might. I actually was anticipating somebody getting on a call.
I thought we were holding cherry moments for Monday morning meetings, but that's an inside joke. Okay.
I'm good, well, no, unfortunately. Like I said, I was actually anticipating somebody getting on the call, and they have not, but I wanted to give you a quick update on Side A Brewing. As you know, they are the ones that we are in negotiation with on that site, is Arthur and Kimball. They are, working very closely with their architect at this point in time. I've had, about 3 communications with them over the last 30 days. There's information that they are trying to find, in order to move forward with the architect, so we can get to the point of the redevelopment appraisal. They need, some environmental information. A lot of that information, we as property owner, we don't have it, frankly. So, I had invited them to possibly get on the call here. Like I said, I was kind of holding out as long as I could to see if they could join us, and it looks like they're not going to be with us today. So I wanted to give you that as a report. It does seem to be moving forward. It is somewhat glacial speed at this point, but it is moving forward, and I think once they are able to secure the needed information to provide the architects, then we'll see them move a little more aggressively. But it is still very much a project on the table, and they are still very anxious and excited to be able to move it. In fact, they actually referred another business to us from the LeGrand area that is interested in coming with them. Completely separate business, that's actually a pretty neat business that we're discussing with them. So they're very excited about coming here, but they're still needing to try to pull some information before they can, kind of get us to the next step. So that's a quick update and report on that. Thank you.
Okay, that takes us now to, our update report concerning the Creekside Development Project. Mr. Pepe, are you leading that for us?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members, I have hard copies again, electronic copies. I don't remember how to use this looking tool, but.
Just say that.
Just say. Thank you again. Reiterate last time when I left here, I was motivated by comments said at this meeting on how best to proceed and the assistance that we received from the city and the Urban Renewal Agency to help guide us for success in the project. I'm also someone that very much believes in everything happens for a reason, and when we jump into the information I'm providing today, let's see where the everything happens for a reason comes from. So, last time, I had some together up there, but the hope from last meeting was to come back and understand, spend a little bit of time about what is the parking code, what does it say, what does it allow for in regards to downtown parking. I'm going to touch on that. I want to touch on design updates, and I put an asterisk next to this and very specific about some of the members that joined the meeting today, and they're going to talk briefly after I'm done in regards to we proceeded to move very quickly into our design and design concepts, and that kind of stopped, and it stopped for a good reason. There's a hotel group out of Colorado, Western Hospitality, who, through the Urban Renewal Agency and staff of the Urban Renewal Agency, has brought to our attention their interest in joining this larger development project. That has changed our schematic plan from some advice that we received from them. So I'll walk you through that. That's kind of one of the last topics. And then an update on the schedule. We kind of looked at the big picture of the schedule and what the COVID effect had on the schedule and those things. And I think this new schedule will give some good guidance moving forward. So on to the next slide here. So this code was confusing to our design team because it pointed out a specific area that, unbeknownst to us, didn't actually have any clarity. So if you actually, the arrow down here kind of points to something where it's missing. So when you read through it, and the highlighted area says mixed use, depending, very small in here, but basically it denotes that area 16C3 is the section that we need to go to for guidance. The area is pointing to where 16C3 would be located. As you see, there is no 16C3. So our design team went, there is no true guidance in here, and so that's where we came back last month and said, with the understanding of what we have, for the amount of parking needed, that's what reduced our total unit count. In conversations with the city since then, we now understand that we do have some availability for additional parking downtown. It would help support the residential goals that we have for the project to go back to the original vision that we had showed you many months ago. So on to the next slide. Going back to what our original vision was, we had two buildings, basically, one of them being residential with a parking structure in the middle of it to help support both downtown and the residential, and what we would consider the hotel or other development in the future. Scroll on to the next page. This is what that plan would have looked like in terms of that area, the residential of building one of the project, wrapping a parking garage, and the size of that being about 5 stories. This would be what the hotel portion of that would have been, or could be, depending on what the discussion unfolds today. So we took that original plan, and in mapping, we started moving the boxes around. How could we make, now that we know the parking requirements wouldn't require us to supply 1-for-1 parking, or 1.5 to 1 parking, being number of units to number of stalls, or number of bedrooms, allowed us to move some stuff around to find the most efficient, and what we feel actually goes back to the original concept in terms of vision of what this property would look like once it's on completion. We took that plan, mapped it out, and this is where we started to slow down. Because we were contacted by the urban renewal agency, Steve let us know that there was an interested party on the hotel aspect that wanted to talk to us about joining the development and being involved with the grander picture. In meeting with them, we found out that they loved this idea, they want to be a part of downtown. It didn't change much of what we had originally presented in terms of timeline because of the way that the hotel industry is right now. But they're an active hotel developer. I'll give you more insight to their experience here in a minute. But their interest in this location is more on the other end of the project. A couple of renderings. So this is what we had presented to you as part of our original proposal. This is an updated of that rendering. So we worked on trying to facilitate what it would look like. And then we get into some interesting aspects. So if you move to this next page, this is what we had presented earlier. A residential portion of the project and a hotel portion of the project. What we were advised is because of location and ease of customers getting to the hotel would actually prefer to be in the northwest corner of the project, or one north corner, which put the full stop on our design plan. We didn't want to move too far forward, spend a whole bunch of time and energy to come back and present something to you and find out that, you know what, we should listen to the hotel group if they believe this is the right location for them. We don't want to spend too much time and energy designing something that you guys would say, you should have considered the hotel at that location before you moved too far forward. So that's when we slowed down. This next, which you're not going to see much on this, but you may see a little bit more on your handout, our original timeline, the revised timeline we showed you earlier, and we simplified that to this lower section in terms of focus on what the residential portion would be and what the hotel portion would be. What's interesting, if you looked at our original timeline for the residential portion, and you looked at our new timeline for the residential portion, they lay out very similar to total timelines. We actually are accelerating them because we think we can work through the process more efficiently because we're not talking about a garage. We can move that residential portion up to hopefully be completing that project and leasing up a year from this next one, so 20 of 22. The hotel group, who a couple of the members are on the phone tonight, can talk a little more into their timeline, but it doesn't change much from what we showed you a month ago in regards to there is some lag in time, and really that has to do with the financial industry right now and the hotel industry. But they bring some additional confidence for me, not being a hotel developer, and a hotel group that can come in and actually facilitate the success of building a hotel themselves. So, this last page, as we start to prepare for the end of our 60-day additional time, will be like to come through next time with your guidance, depending on if you believe we should be proceeding with where the hotel location, what the recommendation of the hotel group is asking today. We want to then proceed very fast on the new concept in the footprint for the residential portion. We also need some guidance in regards to, are we talking about separating these parcels? Are we talking about two separate development agreements, one with us and one with the hotel group? Or should we collaborate with the hotel group to bring back one proposal? The discussions we had with the urban renewal agency thus far is it's probably cleaner that there's two separate groups and two separate agreements and separate parcels. The parking solution is an area that we need to discuss with the city to make sure that whatever we're developing, that the parking would be available. So if that parking, which is surface parking right now, goes away, we need to make sure that there's a solution, and we work together for that solution. And really, we'll need to come back this next time, depending on what you want to do with the hotel and their recommendation, to modify our current agreement, to allow us the time to proceed and move forward. And what we want to bring to you next time is enough information that you can actually go out for the reuse of it. So that's a full financial, reuse of the full financial package with this new plan, a schedule that goes along with this plan, an updated design document to help support so that the reuse appraisal can be completed. So with that, and then there's a little blurb at the bottom that really focuses on the next, 12 months. So with that, I'll stand for any questions. And the hotel group is on Zoom call, I believe. We can step in after this to answer more questions or give you more background on their interest in the property and how they'd like to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Any questions? Mr. Alden?
So, the bottom level of residential is still intended to be commercial,
Yes.
retail kind of thing?
Yes.
Will you be doing any, I realize this is preliminary, but will you be doing any build and suit kind of stuff? Is that something where you'll be recruiting occupants of that commercial area ahead of time to build and suit kind of thing?
Much prefer to make sure that we have a tent on the ground so when we activate that at the same time we finish the building. It's the most advantageous way to do it, so yes, I would prefer to do that. Now, you say build a suit, we call it a retail build out or a TI, a tenant improvement. Yes, we want to bring those folks in as early as possible. We'll go outside in those conversations. Sitting and listening to conversations here in terms of interest in downtown, we'd love to be a part of, there's a new retail group that's interested in downtown. Great. Let us help you build that space for them.
Exactly, and a restaurant wants to come in, so you're just gonna design the space ahead of time, that would be the,
Oh, most definitely preferred, definitely preferred.
you know. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Rucker?
so this question kind of was triggered by this last picture, which I really liked in the area. And I know that at our last, I believe it was at our last council meeting, there was a discussion about converting 7th Street to a festival street. Just want to make sure that you all are aware of that. I don't know if that's going to change the design of that area, or have you looked into that?
Well,
Any consideration?
I think we talked about it briefly last month in regards to that would probably make it very hard for a hotel if they wanted to be closer to the creek to survive. They do need the traffic. It'll also make it very hard for the retailers that we want to live in there to survive. So we would want some flexibility to allow traffic to come into that area, some form or fashion, and be able to probably block it off when there's larger events happening. That would be our vision. We would want to work closely with the city and the urban village to make sure that you build for ultimate success. Because we are actually plans that we've gone farther now that we know the hotel group is interested in how we may be able to lay out the residential area, and that alleyway becomes a very good access to actually park interior to the space.
Any other questions? Okay, or for hotel room?
Let me check on in a second. Kevin or Steve, I'm not sure if you want to jump in and give them some background.
This is Fulton Ryan, can you hear me?
We got you.
Hey, hello to the chairman and Victor and hello Dean. My name is Kevin Reimer, and also my brother Steve Reimer is, I think, on the Zoom call, as is my son Kelsey. And we represent Western Hospitality, which is based in Grand Junction, Colorado, and more specifically downtown Grand Junction, Colorado. And we operate and own and have developed 4 hotels on Main Street in downtown Grand Junction since 1999. We just opened our most recent, the True by Hilton, last summer. And so now we have a little over 340 rooms in downtown Grand Junction, with 2 Marriott properties and 2 Hilton properties. And we are very interested in what you've done downtown. We think this is right on our wheelhouse, as we came to Grand Junction in the late 90s and found a town that had hotels out on the highway, but nothing in their downtown core. And we really thought their downtown core had a lot of atmosphere and walkability and promise, and but no hotel rooms. So, since that time, as I mentioned, we opened up, built and opened 4 properties in the last 23 years. And now we're looking to expand, really the same vein, other places that, are doing the same thing that we, found in Grand Junction, and we're interested in Caldwell, and are happy to meet virtually.
I think that's a very, very wise decision on your part. As you know, as I'm sure Mr. Pepe has told you, we're trying to aggressively get somewhere with this project. We've been coddling it for about 6 years now, and we're trying to get to the finish line with it, while the agency's in this area. So, appreciate anything and all you can do to come up with something for us, quickly. Any other questions from?
Well, I wish I could.
No, go right ahead. We lost you.
So I wish, we are, can you still hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. We're all living in the COVID environment, and the, hotel feasibility study that the Embarcadero group did, I think, was spot on when it comes to how COVID has affected the hospitality industry, and, how we're just really treading water at the moment. But we're optimistic. My brother and I, we're glass half full guys that get up every morning and want to move our company ahead. So we want to position ourselves to be able to move, and just as soon as COVID, starts to diminish, the economy starts to come back, we want to have projects to do.
Sounds great.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Reimer, I just have a quick question for you. From the original plan, the placement of the hotel was in one spot, and I see from the new proposed site layout that it's gone to the northwest corner. Explain the rationale there. I'm a fan of it, but I'd like to hear from you what initiated that thought and that move.
Well, in small towns, small downtowns, you wouldn't think from a big city where downtown parking was always an issue. And I found out that in small towns, it's either an issue or perception of an issue. And hotels need to have, if you can't afford a parking garage, you incorporate it in your building. I don't think that's we're not quite there in Caldwell yet because of your availability of downtown parking, the fact that you don't really charge much or anything for downtown parking. You need surface parking. You need that really surface parking you have to assume that every guest is the first time he's arrived at your hotel, he needs to have, or she needs to have, parking that they can really see your front door and know where to check in and where to go park their car and feel secure about that, especially in a colder November evening when it's already dark at 4:30 or 5 or 5:30. You can't really tell them to take a right, to take another right, and then cross a bridge, and then go find parking. It's just a constant battle at your front desk. So we repositioned the hotel on that northwest corner in hopes to talk to you about the surface parking across the street on Main Street.
Senator Pine. Yeah, Mr. Alvin.
Mr. Reimer, on a downtown hotel, what would be common? How many floors, how many rooms situation?
Well, again, where we're treading new waters in downtown Caldwell. We started in Grand Junction with a 70-room, four-floor property in 2000, and then had done 3 more properties after that. We've talked to both Marriott and Hilton. We'd like to do probably one or the other, where we have relationships with them. Obviously, we have 2 franchises with each, and we have some flexibility there. The good news is, there's some franchises that are available and not coming into a market that is already filled with Marriott's and with Hilton's. So I would say that on this site, the size that we have, Dean has kind of earmarked for us, I would imagine it'd be a 5-story hotel, somewhere in the 80 to 100 room size, but there's still a possibility. We've talked to, again, both Marriott and Hilton, and in larger areas, there's some discussion about a dual-branded development. We see more and more of those around the country, of 2 different franchises kind of occupying the same footprint, and that appeals to maybe a little different market out there. So I guess I would tell you that either way, probably 5 stories, no more than 6, and somewhere north of 80, 90, 100 rooms, and probably certainly a major franchise, and probably Marriott or Hilton that goes with us.
And does that include any conference rooms?
You know, in downtown Grand Junction, we are about 100 feet from our only convention center, which is about 23,000 square feet, and we partner with them quite a bit. But we did, in each of those properties, we did build a small meeting space, 1,500 square feet of meeting room, and then maybe another 400 or 500 feet of executive conference room. We'd have to get to know the market a little bit better, see if there's any meeting space around us we might partner with, and if there isn't, then yes, we would probably build some amount of meeting space inside the hotel, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
All right, Mr. Armour, thank you very much for, joining us and filling us in. Appreciate it very much. Any other,
Well, thank you. I'd like to visit our person, but maybe next time.
Yeah, we'll get you out here. Any other questions or any other concerns on the creek side of Renewal? All right, I'm looking forward to what you're gonna bring back to us, Mr. Dunn. Okay, thank you guys, appreciate it, yes.
Mr. Chair, I don't think it's for opinion, but I think that there was great discussion about, would they be a separate proposal or a same proposal, and I think Mr. Murphy has to make that decision because part of that assigned RFP.
Yeah, well, we had to split it, I don't know what that means, whether it's a reflow, I mean, we have to talk over that with this program, someone, how where we go, so. Unless you wanna weigh in now, Mark.
Yeah, you're asking the right questions, and those are ones that came to mind for me. Shooting from the hip, I think that we would be okay to split this up. You know, I'll have to take a look, I want to take a look at the statute and make sure that we're operating, in the statute. If we decide to do that, I also, want to spend some time, you know, considering with these developers, you know, which that's in the best interest, they haven't divided up. So my thought is to work on that as part of the work that's going to be done between now and December 15th. And then we'll come back with I'll come back with more specific advice and more specific.
Very good. All right, well, thank you. That takes us to, new business action item number 1, which is the reappraisal report. Mr. Hilty, are you leading us to that?
Yep, I certainly can. This is pretty straightforward. I reported at the last meeting that we had the reuse appraisal in on the Cleveland Event Center redevelopment project. And, you know, this, I talked with the clerk about whether this was technically required. I don't think it is technically required for you to receive the reuse appraisal, but I think it's wise. And so we're just going to simply document that we've received the reuse appraisal. This will form the basis of the purchase price for that property. As you know, the reuse appraisal came in at a negative number. That is not surprising. The purchase price, of course, won't be negative, but it will be zero in recognition of the fact that the reuse appraisal value of the property that we're transferring is less than zero. So simply would, ask for, approval of the resolution and then any questions you have.
Any questions for Mr. Hilty? If not, I would then entertain a motion on the resolution, for acceptance of the appraisal, report, and this resolution of the Renewal Agency by the city of Caldwell, accepting the reuse appraisal by Val Bridge Property Advisors for the proposed building renovations at 711 Cleveland Boulevard. So, moved by Mr. Porter, second by Mr. Ramirez to adopt this resolution. Was the secretary call roll, please?
Porter,
Yes.
Warwick,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Allgood,
Yes.
Ramirez.
Yes.
Hopper.
Yes. All right, we have that appraisal vote, and Mr. Lemaitre can go to town. That's good. Just a really light month this week for invoices, wasn't it? I mean,
Really
just
light,
a
yeah.
few minor annoying bills, right? So-
I know, I think it kind of passes last month, treasurer's report, slightly.
Stacking them up a little bit, weren't you?
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead.
It kind of takes my breath away when I saw this one, but, as you have heard from the other, Steve, that we are, and from engineering, that we are really busy with some projects that are now starting to get underway. So you're gonna start seeing, some invoices coming through. So we have a request to approve $1,909,235.67 worth of invoices, and they are for the following items. We have our monthly economic development, support for, Steve at $18,000. We have our monthly legal fees to, Mr. Hilty for $6,500. And then Valley View School District, portion, which is gonna come out of their, tax increment financing money, for that speed roadway of $344,305.15. And then the following projects, that will be paid to the city of Caldwell are for the completion of the rodeo grounds restroom, completion of Lions Park restroom. Is that one a completed invoice, Rob, or do we have another one coming for the Lions? Okay. And then, so the rodeo grounds restroom is $17,182.54. The Lions restroom invoices for $26,885. This North Ranch project, which is also tied to the Valley View increment up above. This is for the interior pieces that, they were talking about earlier about asphalt and everything that's starting to go down. We have $897,091.45. We have, street labor, their labor to be a part of the demo there at Mr. C's for $1,124.92. We have some minor utilities, on the Kimball properties of $1,233.81. And then Canyon County, they have an invoice in here for their project of $52,708. This is for that infrastructure there over at the Fair Expo, piece. Then we have our BIG payments that are coming out, this quarter. So Capital Distributing payment number 3, $25,000. AMPAC, BIG payment number 3, $25,000. Fresca Foods, BIG payment number 4 for $25,000. Cold Steel Constructors, payment number 6 for $25,000. Syringa, payment number 4 for $16,250. Price Pumps payment number 3 for $23,750. Then we have another invoice to the city. This is for all that, downtown concrete work that was going on this summer. So $397,487.46. We just approved the reuse appraisal for Val Bridge, so here's our invoice for $6,000 for that reuse appraisal. And then, our annual Pioneer Irrigation, taxes for $717.34.
Thank you. Ms. Mitchell, any questions about the invoices from anyone? If not, I entertain motion to approve the invoices for November. Moved by Ms. Warwick, second by Mr. Allgood. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, that's easy, just one more time.
Yeah. Especially with that big.
There you go. All right, treasurer's report.
All right. Chairman, Commissioners, you have tonight before you the treasurer's report. We're going to start in that gray box. We'll start at the bottom and move our way up like we do. So we have a total of $14,259,004.29 in our account. They break out to the following accounts: the LGIC account of $116,320.14, Banner Bank CD $260,380.49, and then our Banner Bank operating account is $13,892,303.06. And then the Banner Bank, we have it broken out with the following categories. We have in your job creation, that number has really come down since this time last year when we were talking about that one. So we're down to $391,647.46. Our TVTC rental leftover income of $748,364.89. Caldwell increment money, $1,607. $553 and pennies. I'm sorry. And then our other increment money of $11,044,738. So with that, I'll answer questions.
That was easy for you to say.
Any questions for Ms. Mitchell? I hope not. I entertain a motion then on the cash reconciliation report. Moved by Mr. Albright for approval, with a second by Mr. Ramirez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? We got you. Thanks.
Thank
You've done
you.
so well.
All right.
All right, Mr. Hilty, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, meeting commissioners. I have a very brief report. Under your agenda, Steve gave the Side A Brewing update. He's been the one that's been in touch more than with Alpha. I think both of us are anxious moving forward. You know, we're keep our thumb in their back on it. You know, I think we'll probably redouble our efforts to get an update from them for the December 14th meeting. As Steve indicated, whenever we talk to them, he's talking directly to the developer. I have been talking to their attorney. Anytime we talk to them, we're hearing the right kind of thing about what it is that they're doing. So we trust them moving forward to the right thing. With respect to Caldwell North area, the project area, as I recall, we reported last time that some doubts had arisen over the viability of the project, given really the cost of delivering electricity and natural gas to the site, kinds of volumes that would be needed for the development. We haven't given up entirely. We are going to be working with Mr. Wade on what the impact of those costs on the feasibility study. But we have hit the pause button until we move on that. I think we've also continued for focus is trying to shift into urban renewal, a new urban renewal area on the east side of Caldwell Airport, so somewhat south of the Sky Ranch area, where we'd be looking to focus on some continued renewal efforts there, forest primarily. So, stay tuned. We're regrouping a little bit. The team is working on this, in more detail to be able to share with you. Currently, all I have.
Great, thank you, Mr. Hilty. Any questions for Mr. Hilty?
Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Porter?
Mark, this is Jim. I have a question about, was it Ideal Demolition that was buying property out there? I know that there was a little bit of a hiccup. What's the current standing with them?
They are going to purchase the entire 8.2 acres, and there was a bit of a hiccup on the purchasing entity. They did submit a revised letter of intent, and all they did was change the identity the purchasing entity. They had represented that this purchasing entity was also a company wholly owned by the two, yield demolition principals. I verified that at the Secretary of State's website. So we modified the agreement simply to change the identity of the buyer. We did that in part because, what they're doing is not unusual. We typically do see, special entities formed, to own property that will be servicing the company, and standard purchase money agreement that we enter into does provide for an assignment wholly owned subsidiary or associated company. And then nothing else will change. So the obligation is still to take that entire 8.2 acres, a portion of it will be used for ideal demolition services, and then the other portion of it has the requirement to develop spec buildings within the facility. There were one or two other entities interested in that property for relocating their businesses, and I think there's discussion is ongoing about local suit type arrangement, so that we can get that fully occupied. So it would be the ideal demolition folks building out a new building for the new company, or potentially selling it that needs to be developed within the time frame.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Oakley? All right, thank you, Mark. I don't have much else to add than what you've heard tonight, except that I think in the future we can kind of expect to have more smaller, urban renewal districts, one or a limited number of users potentially involved in the projects, and not so much really big, massive projects, especially given the legislative changes that have occurred to sort of hamstring those kinds of efforts. So that's probably more of our future than larger areas that we're investing in. The only other thing I have is it's almost Christmas light season. It's going to be a different event this year. It's not a big bang. It's supposed to be a nice, slow 3-day opening. I hear it maybe a 3-day big bang instead, but we'll see how that goes. But it's the exciting season for downtown Caldwell, so maybe if the riders have dropped off, that's when we need to get them out here, so we'll work on that. Yeah. So any other comments from any other commissioners? Anything to know? Anything we don't need to know? All right. I would entertain a motion for adjournment. Move by Ms. Warwick, second by Mr. Allgood. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're done. Thank you all.
Goodbye.